this evening, what I would like to do is introduce Jill Amy Sager, who is the author of Guidance from the Universe, Hopeful Messages for Everyday Challenges. And it's available where all books are sold. And I will put all of this information in the chat. But I want to tell you a little bit more about her. She is a highly sought after tarot reader, channeler, and public speaker with an international clientele. Born with a physical disability, Jill's journey from low self-esteem to spiritual empowerment has inspired her to help others find healing, and that she has. Jill Amy Sager, again, we welcome you, and I just offer you this evening to share everything that you would like to share with us. I know that you have certain things you're going to be offering us this evening, and if you could just start wherever you'd like to start, and then we'll go from there.
Well, thank you, Jacqueline. First, I want to thank everybody for being here, and Ari for that beautiful letter that she wrote. I didn't expect that, and thanks for the beautiful introduction too. I want to just start by saying that writing a book is hard enough, but launching a book is harder. And for some of you who are authors who have written, the difficulty in getting the word out. So I so appreciate that AZ was willing to have me here tonight with all of you. When I mentioned that I had a book coming out, this was when I first got involved with AZ. It's already been a couple of years. Ari, being the huge heart that she is, immediately didn't even know me that well at all, and didn't even know what the book was about. And she goes, "Oh, we'll do a launch." You know her. She unbelievable. So here we are, finally at that day. The book came out on January 7th. So it's brand new. It's out into the world. As Jacqueline said, it's available where all books are sold. It was published by She Writes Press. It is being distributed by Simon and Schuster. So if you have an indie bookstore you love, you can certainly have them order it, or you can have your library find it. Everybody knows who Simon and Schuster is, so it shouldn't be difficult. I would love to offer tonight readings for people if you're interested. I thought we could do a little bit of that. And then I thought if you'll indulge me, I'd love to read a chapter from the book and do some more readings. And then also I really wanted to give a book away. So we'll do that at the end. We'll pick, Jacqueline will pick one lucky winner, I guess, and we'll just make sure that happens tonight as well. And I also am up for your questions about anything about writing. This is my second nonfiction book. The first one has nothing to do with the metaphysical. It was all about my other career. I was a professional percussionist for years, and I wrote a instructional how-to, and that's out as well. Don't quit your day job for that, but that's, around. But anyway, here I am. So if you have questions at any point about writing or about what I do, or whatever comes to mind, I'm open. I'm an open book. I'll answer all your questions. So let's start with doing some readings, maybe. I don't know, Jacqueline, can you handle that and see
I
who?
can handle that. I can
Thank
handle
you.
that.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
So there aren't very many of us here, but just give me just a few seconds here to just get everyone. If there's anyone that does not want a reading, when I call your name, just let us know, and that would be wonderful. So we'd like to start with Kathy. Would you
Okay.
like a reading this evening, Kathy? Oh, there you go. You can just unmute yourself. There we go.
Hi, thank you for doing this. How fun
Oh,
to find out I'm getting a reading too.
well, thanks. Okay. My pleasure. Okay. Well, let's do it for you, Kathy. Here we go. All
There is
right.
plenty going on.
Yeah, right. For so many of us right now. And a friend just told me, and I'm not an astrologer, and I think other people are well versed in it, not me, but I heard that there's a lot of planetary shifts as well. So I think some of this is maybe us personally, and some of it is what's happening in the world as well. Here are the things that are highlighted for you. Um, and I always have to explain what I get, right, in words. So here we go. Well, one of them is that it's really your time to receive more and more and more. So lack should not be the any word, it should not be the word in your vocabulary, right? Take that or leave it. But if you're feeling lack in any way, whether it's emotional or spiritual or anything, try really hard to overcome, because really it looks like what's really going on is that you're just not, it's about perception is how it's feeling for us. It's just about perception. So try to shift, if you can, shift your perception to the abundance that's around you, because there's plenty of it around you. And the other thing is that you've got a lot to offer. And I don't know what you do for work or career, or if you're retired, whatever, but it doesn't matter. You have a lot to offer in terms of allowing other people to see who you are, um, teaching lessons, letting people know your inspiration, your intuition, and that's really seems to be coming forward for you. If it's not, if you haven't sensed it, you might want to, free choice, free will, but you might want to look into that, right? And the third thing that I'm seeing has to do with what's going on in your subconscious. And it might even be that you're going to get, or maybe you already have, getting some messages more when you are in that relaxed state, and even more so, perhaps even in your dreams. I think we all know here that dreams can offer a lot of information, stuff that we need to look at or see. And it just wouldn't surprise me if you might allow that too to come to the surface a little bit more. Maybe you already are.
I'd love to remember my dreams.
Well, that's the
I
thing.
used to, and then
Uh-huh.
the last couple of years is just nothing there.
Oh. Well, I love that you got that, because it really speaks to how maybe, and I'm just saying maybe because I don't really know, but the fact that that came up maybe does show that it's kind of knocking, like you need the information in that deep subconscious state. So, a friend, and I don't know if it was somebody here at AZ or who it was, or a friend of mine said that before they went to bed, I thought this was kind of a cool trick. They had a glass of water, they drank half of it and put in mind, oh, I want to remember my dreams. And then in the morning, the first thing they did was they drank the other half, and they were able to do that. I don't know. That's somebody gave me that tip somewhere. You might try that. I don't know.
Can't
I'll try
Spirit
it.
just send me a telegram?
Yes.
Wouldn't
Ask,
that be nice?
It would be
yes.
so much easier, so much more straightforward.
I know, right? So true. So
I
true.
think Spirit has a warped sense of humor sometimes.
Oh, totally. Absolutely. Absolutely. I believe that.
Thank you.
Well,
Wow,
thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
thank you, Kathy. Valerie, we would love a reading, so here she is. Let me
Great.
just there you go, my dear. Unmute yourself and away you go.
Okay. Any question, or I didn't even ask if you had a question,
Just general,
anything in particular?
because you're psychic. I didn't have one.
All right. Well, you know what? It feels to us like things have changed in your world. I don't know what that means, change is afoot, but really maybe some profound changes that you're going through, not just little things like what color you're going to paint your nails, but some of the bigger changes, some of the bigger things that you're dealing with right now. And some of it feels has to do with work. Some of it feels that it has to do with how you perceive yourself. Both of those things seem to be up on the table. And some of it, yeah, some of it has to do with money, actual finances, and how you're feeling about that and what's going on with that. And one thing, tarot, maybe even better than me, and you've got the Chariot, and it's sitting there kind of as a reminder. I'm really feeling like it's a reminder to you, remember that you're still at the helm, and you still have power and choice and all those things that can get lost when we're in that sense of transitioning, or not, kind of trying to do something. But it's still all on you. And that is maybe also part of the issue, that it's still on you. That can maybe feel like a burden to you sometimes, like it's difficult, it's not always easy, this thing that gets all on you. So I'm asking the universe how to help you with that piece, because that feels like a lot. And they're saying, really, I don't want to say take time for yourself. That's not really what they're saying. It's more like, Yeah, take moments to remember who you are. They're saying that you're the beautiful woman you are, and try to imagine other people, and I don't know if it's an intimate relationship for you, Valerie, or what they're sending me around this, but try to imagine that you, because you're a beautiful woman, and they mean that in every way, physical, emotional, spiritually, you know, the depth of you, try to push that forward to get the help you need. That is really a weird message. I mean, here I am, you know, judging my own messages, but they're just saying there's something about that, like, I don't know. You know, do you understand what I'm saying?
I received that completely. I had a very similar thought just the other day, and Spirit backed it up, and I was like, "Oh, okay, so I know exactly what you're talking about."
Okay, fine. Thank-
Yeah, but I love that confirmation and clarity. It added a different level to it. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, let's do one more.
Sure.
We do anything yet? Are you
Yeah, one
available
more
for a reading? Would you like a reading, my dear, yet?
Yeah, one more would be great.
Okay, let's see what let me get you unmute. There we go, yet.
Yes.
She would like a reading. Okay.
Okay, all right. Let me do that for you. You know, I channel information with these readings, but I still, just so you know, I still use tarot cards. I love the cards, and I still use them. I don't have to use them, but I want to use them. I love them. That's why I was waiting, because I was doing some shuffling, just to let you know. All right. It looks to us like you've got some spiritual, really some deep spiritual stuff going on. And I don't just mean for yourself. It feels like there's some stuff that you are, in terms of your spiritual world, what you're offering, that's starting to percolate. Or I don't know if you're someone giving readings to other people, or how this is manifesting. I don't know you, but it feels like that's what's going on, that it's being met, that your knowledge and your spirituality is being manifested, not just for you at this point, but for others, and that's starting to grow, or okay, my air quotes should grow, something like that, right? The other thing, because here's the thing, not only do you have that spiritual awareness, this kind of perseverance about it, not understand, but some kind of perseverance about it, but you also have like a mental capacity to do this, because it can take that sometimes, not just what we know spiritually, but also how to bring that into the world. And it feels to us like you've got some good ideas going. So they're saying, yeah, good. Good, good. It's all good. That's all good, you know. I'm curious, are you starting to, or doing a business air quotes in this realm?
Uh, I had held a healing workshop, and I also have a blog.
Okay. Okay. Well, I would say, from looking at your reading, keep at it. I mean, take my advice or not, free choice, free will, but according to it, just felt like you're on the right track.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So we can either, why don't we do one more? And
Okay.
then okay. So let's go to Charlie.
Okay. Hi, Charlie.
Oh, let me unmute you, my dear. There we go. Yeah.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, the general reading would be great. Thank you.
Okay. Sure. You're welcome. All right. Well, they immediately said, even before I pulled out the cards, they immediately said, "Oh, there's mastery there." So again, like I said to everybody, I don't know you, so I don't know what that means for you, but they said there's mastery there, and I believe it. I'm feeling that about you. Um, and you too have, in this mastery, and you know, in a way, I'm saying this, Jill is saying this, it doesn't surprise me with this group, you know, that we're getting this kind of information, because you too have something to offer. You too have something to teach. You too have something to share with the world that's important. And like I said to the other person, these are not little things. These are like important. I mean, the energy for you, and who else I said this to, it's important. It's not to be I mean, don't belittle it or think it's not important, because it is important, and it needs to, whatever it is, needs to get out into the world. That's what I'm being told for you. It's really important that you, no matter what's going on for you, that you take care of your health, through all of this. Be conscious of health, be mindful of your health, stay healthy. That's what I got for you.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you. And what's interesting is I've been battling a UTI,
Oh,
and those are fun. But yeah, I am newly to this path and starting to offer things as well. And I am blown away by the clarity and speed at which you are getting messages. Thank you.
oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. All
Okay.
right.
So,
We can do more. We can do more later.
oh, of course we will.
Yeah, not a
Yeah.
problem. If other people want readings, I'm here.
Okay.
So
I mean, everyone's ready and willing. Practically everyone's ready and willing. So that's not a problem. We will do more. We'll do more.
okay.
Okay.
So
So,
again, I want to, yeah, I just want to thank everybody for indulging me with my book, because it is a little bit, I'm not somebody who has ever, maybe because I grew up physically disabled, I wanted to like hide myself away, right? So coming out and being out in the world, especially with a book, has taken a bit of, it's been a bit of a challenge to put myself out there, right? I have to self-promote, and I think all of us probably, I'm thinking, can relate to how difficult that is. Self-promotion is hard. So really want to thank you for indulging me in this self-promotional, my self-promotional time about this book, because honestly, the truth is I do want it to sell. And the good news is that it just in the month and a half, not even, it's been out, it's already won best cover from the nonfiction category, with bedside reading. It's up right now. Someone else wants to come in. It's up right now as a finalist in the body, mind, spirit category, with Chanticleer. And they pick the winners in April. It's already receiving, if you go on Goodreads or on Amazon, it's already receiving 5-star reviews. Midwest Book Reviewer, who reviewed it, gave it glowing reports, loved the book so much. Here, this is where I get to, tell you how great the book is, right? This is coming from other people. This is the easy part, right? Because it's not coming from me. But she said she loved the book so much that she's buying her own copy. And I had sent her a copy. So that was like very nice. It's gotten all 3 reviewers from Reader's Favorite gave it 5 stars, glowing reviews, highly praised. And the publisher of Awakened
yeah.
magazine, and this is the funny part, I can't say it without laughing, has likened my stories to Anne Lamott. And if you know her, she's a very famous writer. I'm not. So that was quite something. He did a couple of, he did a reel about it and went on. I didn't ask him. He bought the book. I was blown away, very surprised by his enjoyment of the book as well. So just so you know, anyway, any questions about any of that? It's almost
well, I just put all of that information in chat so they can go to Simon and Schuster. They can go to the Awakened magazine and read the article. And then I've got your information for your website and your social sites. So that's all there.
Thank you.
And I
Thank
want to tell you that I loved it myself. When I started
Oh, wow.
reading, it was just so I went through it so fast, and then I was so happy to start reading it again, because the second time I was so excited I just kept reading, but the second time I started to read it and went a lot slower, then I took each message and really let it settle in me and kind of speak to me, and I really felt that that's exactly what you were doing with everything that you were given from Spirit. And you were given these messages to share with all of us. And it just moved me. And I still loving it, loving.
Oh, Jacqueline, thank you so much. I'm got a little tear. Thank you. Me have verklempt. I'm a Jew. I get so verklempt. That's so sweet. Thank you. Thank you so much. I will say before I read from the book that when
Mhm.
I channel like many of you maybe here, you get information from the universe, and I was writing some of this down, right? And it dawned on me many years ago to transcribe it. I put it on my computer. Um, and at some point, the universe said, and I laugh because honestly, I wasn't going to write, I wasn't thinking to write a book, but the universe said, do you think this information was just given for you? And I remember yes, thank you. It's all been really great. And I've learned a lot and I'm using it, you know, but they were like, no. So I'm not kidding. That's really how the book started. It
Well,
wasn't,
yeah.
yeah. And it wasn't until I got into transcribing all of that stuff from the universe. There are 30 chapters on different topics like loss and suffering and grief and all this. But where I thought, I'll just write my stories to demonstrate and illustrate how I've used the information. And then there are questions with every chapter that maybe jumpstart the reader's own musings. And what I'm finding from people's who are telling me about the reaction to the book is that they're really getting a lot from my stories, which honestly I didn't expect. Um, I really thought they'd get more from guidance's messages, and maybe that's happening, but it seems to be my stories that are resonating with people. So that's been a nice surprise. So I thought I would read. I mean, there are different, it's always hard to figure out what to read. But I thought for some reason, I don't know, I just am going with my gut, and I'm going to read the chapter on acceptance. But first, let me read you what guidance says about acceptance. Um, Acceptance is your ability to meet what is. Denying what is true becomes your struggle. Acceptance ends resistance. Ending your resistance will relax your shoulders, help you to unclench your jaw, make you whole, for in you is the ability to see clearly what you do to self when you cannot accept. We ask that you be ever mindful. Acceptance opens doors to the self you seek. Trust in the moment. Acceptance offers clarity and brings what's possible. It allows you the freedom to make wiser choices that will benefit you. Accept what is true in you and in others with love and compassion. Your truest choice toward change is with an accepting heart. And that's from the universe. And I say in my intro that I have a preface and an intro, and I basically say that their words can be a little, hard to understand. Sometimes it takes a while, but anyway, I didn't do much editing when it came to their voice. Of course, my voice, I had to edit quite a bit. So this is my story about acceptance. Quote, this is from a friend. I want to get to the point where I feel good about my decision to buy a new car, end quote. Once again, my friend JoJo had to think seriously about trading in her old car for a newer model. For the past 3 years, anytime JoJo drove her 15-year-old Mazda to her mechanic, and that was often, she wanted to replace the relic. This proved to be a difficult decision, and she agonized about buying brand new. JoJo had only purchased used cars. Her parents had instilled in her their belief that buying a new car was no different from throwing money in a trash can. New cars depreciate the moment they leave the lot, they told her. It's getting dark here in my house. I should have had a light on. The day after JoJo received another $1,000 bill for auto repairs, she became excited again about test driving the latest vehicles. She knew she needed to take the plunge, but this went against her parents' financial advice. By the time we talked, she was plagued with the same self-doubt and inner conflict that kept her from buying years earlier. In my experience, JoJo's hesitation wasn't unusual. Inertia can set in when we are overpowered by a fear of doing something we've never done before. Old ways of thinking often hijack decisions that might be better for us. Jojo believed, as many do, that to break free from the ideas that hold us back, we must transform them before taking action. And this is undoubtedly true in certain circumstances. For example, I knew I needed to change how I handled anger before allowing myself to enter another intimate relationship. But there are other times when we don't need to wait while we work out the conflictual cogs that get in our way. Sometimes we need to accept where we're at. This was the case with JoJo's situation. It became apparent that what stood in the way had nothing to do with her desire to buy new, but about her lifetime of buying into her parents' way of thinking, which, as an adult, she had never questioned. JoJo was being emotionally pulled in opposite directions that wouldn't allow for a decision. Her bubbly enthusiasm for the car model and color she wanted conflicted with her anxiety about making the purchase. I suggested that instead of waiting to feel grounded about her decision to buy new, which could take a while, a better course might be acceptance, that she felt both troubled and elated about plopping down money for the car of her dreams. After our conversation, Jojo settled into accepting her ambiguity. This not only brought her peace of mind, but also a trip to the Honda dealer. Like Jojo, I too have experienced events that create emotions at odds with each other. One such example happened while dating online. In my early 50s, I wanted a relationship after being single for 12 years. After every first date that didn't lead to a second date, and there were plenty of these, I questioned my age along with my viability and disability as the reason things weren't working out. I experienced grave self-loathing. So although I wanted to be in a couple, my dating mojo disappeared sometimes for weeks and months while I waited to get over my disappointment. The inertia, however, didn't bring me closer to what I wanted, so I resurrected Guidance's piece about acceptance. Acceptance allows you the freedom to make wiser choices that will benefit you. And like the advice I gave JoJo, I stopped waiting for the day when my age and disability no longer affected me, because that day would probably never come. I accepted how self-doubt and disappointment would remain part of my dating package, like putting on lipstick before I left the house. Acceptance brought the truth of my situation to the surface. As Guidance predicted, relief and freedom replaced internal conflict, which enabled JoJo to buy a brand new Honda CRV and me to return to those dating apps. And the third part of each chapter is called Reflections. And this is where, well, I'll read this to you. This is more from me, and then there are some questions at the end of every chapter. Acceptance is a form of self-admission that liberates us. One of the most profound examples, people who admit they're alcoholics. Once alcoholics have accepted their truth, they can begin to accept themselves with all their vulnerability and frailty. With acceptance, we meet ourselves where we're at, with compassion and understanding, so change comes more organically. But for this to happen, it requires us to pay attention. Acceptance also allows us to see others more clearly. When we accept others as they are, we believe what they say and what they show us. It then becomes harder to make excuses for them. It becomes easier to set boundaries. It enables us to stand in our power because reality is guiding us. We are liberated as we receive the gift of authenticity. Acceptance acts as a harbinger of our denial. It asks, how present am I willing to be? How absolutely true can I be to myself? So the first question is, when does denial work for you, and when does it work against you? Second question, what might change if you accepted a situation for what it is, or accepted a person for who they show they are? And three, what might be different if you accepted the ambiguity of your disparate thoughts or feelings? Our emotional discomforts might motivate our desire to change, but acceptance often proves to be the most valuable way to change.
Oh,
And that was chapter, chapter 11 on acceptance.
I know when you mentioned the dating,
Mm-hmm.
my I don't know if they're I don't know, little things came up in me because I don't think I felt when I was trying to date, it just was not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had a hard time with self-love after that. I mean, obviously had trouble with self-love to begin with, but I thought my self-love was built up. And then when the dating came on and yeah, it was, I realized my self-love isn't as strong as I thought it was.
Yeah, that's yeah, I didn't write all of, but yes, I can relate to that experience, absolutely.
Wow.
And I think there are many things that um have triggered me to make me recoil or, dismiss what I want. And it felt really good. I remember looking at myself in a mirror and thinking, Jill, this is never going to go away. I mean, I can love myself more and more as time goes on and I learn more, but it's not going to go away. Every time somebody doesn't want you, you're on a date and somebody decides you're not the one, I know I'm going to be disappointed. I'm going to not like myself. I'm going to feel it's me. It's all going to be there. But like I said in the book, at first I was taking a lot of time off between dates and and I continued to do that, but it got a lot easier. Dating got a lot easier when I just started to accept, just like I wrote in the book, that this was just how it was going to be. So I went into every date very aware of this, and it helped. It kind of lessened its effect.
Thank you. And thank you for being vulnerable in your writing. It's really clear that way. So at this time, if any one of you have any questions for her about anything, we
Yeah,
can,
any questions about the book
the
or
book,
anything?
her life, how she channels,
I'm
like
open.
anything. Well, oh, Charlie does. Okay. There you go, Charlie. Go for it.
Yeah, I'd love to hear a little bit about your process and how you channel.
Mm. Well, I will say this. I think the best way to explain how I work is to say that I have never, when I first started to get information from the universe, it was spontaneous, but I later, years later, got a book from a friend she gave me, and it's called Your Sixth Sense. I've kind of mentioned this before at AZ. And I noticed that many of the things that I had been doing, according to this author, would have opened that creative, intuitive side of the brain without realizing it, such as playing a musical instrument, using tarot cards, which are pictorial, and there were other things I can't remember. So it was spontaneous when it happened, but obviously, unbeknownst to me, things were kind of lining up in that way, including the fact that my DNA, who I am as a person, has always been somebody who says yes. That's just me. I don't, maybe because I'm an Aquarian, I don't know. Maybe it's in my astrology. I just seem to be somebody who accepts. I do accept a lot of things. And even if they're not rational or proven, right? Like getting tarot cards in the 70s and just going, okay, I'm going to do this. Coming from a very traditional background, living in the Bronx in a working class neighborhood, like that was not something I ever thought I'd be doing, right? But I said yes to that. So my point is, when I did start receiving information from the universe, it started to come in like these bits and pieces. And I just was like, okay, I know this isn't my voice. I know I'm not crazy. I know that it's not my mom telling me what to do. And it was so beautiful. I thought, okay, I'm gonna listen to this, right? I started to write stuff down. And over time, and then as I got more familiar with whatever was going on, I asked, who are you? What are you? And their response to me was, and what should I call you, right? And their response was, call us anything you want. It's names or vibration. I immediately said, okay, guidance, only because that means help. And I have stayed, my process has been consistent since that time. And that was maybe the 80s. I'm trying to think when, must have been maybe early 90s. And that has been consistent for me. What has been consistent is that I am always in the wonder of it. I have never, this isn't just me, but I have never tried to box it in. I've never tried to figure out what it is. What I do know after a lot of experience is that what I channel, the loving source, the loving wisdom, is not just mine. I really believe that. It's available. It's because other people it's like Valerie was saying, oh, I got that. Oh, thanks for validating that. It's out, it's there, it's all there. And it's a loving source of information. I believe the universe
Thank you.
wants us to live,
Oh, oh, please.
enjoy, and happiness. All they're doing is getting feel like it to be open to whatever it is. It's always loving. I'm not worried about it being anything else.
Mhm.
And to answer your question in a different way, maybe because I'm open to not having to define what it is, I actually, don't tell everybody this, but I actually do a lot of different things when it comes to channeling.
Mhm.
I do go into trance. I have talked to dead people. I've talked to people in comas. I talk to animals. I get information, and all of when I do that, I mean, it gets validated. Like, oh, yeah, yeah, my cat doesn't like that square food. Like I was like, I don't know, what is that square food thing? Oh yeah, she hates that, and others, things like that, right? I think it's and so yeah, and I automatic write. So I kind of get information a lot of different ways. But when I'm working with a client, I still use tarot cards. I love them. And mostly what I get for the client is what the universe wants the person to hear. But what I've noticed for all of you who love tarot as much as I do, the cards and what I'm getting kind of hook up. So when I
Oh,
really look at the cards, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's the same information, it's so great. It's just in line. But isn't that tarot? Because did I ever know why this was working? I'm holding up my cards, by the way. No, I never had it. I don't know why that's working, but it always seems to work, right? We know that.
yeah,
So
we
that's,
do.
I don't know if I answered your question. It was kind of a long way around, but that's kind of been my process, and I don't ever take it for granted. Still can't. I can't take this for granted. Client, and they say, oh, that's what I was thinking about. I'm like, I'm as blown away as anybody else, you know?
And you are a teacher
Yeah.
to us, and we appreciate that.
Oh, well, that's nice. I think, well, we're all healers, we're all teachers. Um, I maybe have that teacher hat because I mean, I taught drums for years. Uh,
Mhm.
did a lot of conferences with music, so I have that bent, but we all can teach each other. I learn from my clients. I learn anytime, it's always, and I think all of you probably have that same experience, right? You're reading for somebody and you're like, oh, that's good information for me too. It's like, um, how that is. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Thanks for the
you.
question.
Next
Yeah.
question, Monica. Do you want to ask it or would you like me to ask it? There you go. You can unmute if you like.
Yeah, I have a question regarding reoccurring dreams.
Re
I I've had this one dream about this one guy that I know for the past like 10 years, probably hundreds of them. I never dated the guy, never had anything to do with him. What do you think could that mean?
But you know him?
Yes, I
You
know
know him.
him, but I never really had any like encounter with him.
Wow. Well, I'm not like a Jungian or a dream therapist, but I do know from studying a bit about dreams that the little I know is that dreams have different connotations for us. Some dreams are information from our subconscious trying to come through that stuff we're working out during the day. that we're not really, that we haven't worked out. And so we get messages in our dreams to work it out, like whatever it is, fear, whatever. Another aspect of dreams is that when we dream about sometimes somebody, and I don't know if this is true in your case, it's just a suggestion. It's us. We're actually dreaming, we're putting the face on somebody else, but it's really us. It's really who we are, and we're learning that way because people teach us. We know this, and we know this. We know this. I mean, this is just fact, right? Like people, we teach each other. I mean, that's just how life is, right? I get triggered by somebody, I have to figure out what's going on for me. I mean, this is interactions, this is people to people. So dreams do that too. It could be that this person really is you, some aspect of you. You could look at it that way. And another way that dreams, and I've had all of this myself personally. Another aspect of dreams is having a visitation. My dad has come to me in dreams. He's definitely there. My dead dog came to me in dreams. I mean, and that was really what I felt from those was this kind of connection of I'm okay, you're okay, like everybody just trying to connect and make sure we're all okay.
A lot
So
of my dreams are like premonition dreams. That's why I'm asking.
yeah, and it could be, yes, and there's that aspect too. It's that aspect too, depending on how connected somebody is. That's possible. I think it's all available in dream work because
That's something that you think could, I don't know, like go from the past life connection or something. I don't
yeah,
know.
well, like I said, I mean, I don't know for you, but I think it's what I do believe is it's all available in dream work because we are at our most relaxed.
Mhm.
Right? Like even when I take a shower, I'll get like I'll, because I do write and I have other books in me that are coming out and I'll be really stuck and stuck and stuck. And then I'm like in the shower and next thing I know, it's like that sentence came through. It's brilliant, it's not really, but I think it is at the time. And I'm trying to figure out, oh my gosh, I don't have a pen. I'm wet. What am
I
I
know.
I
We
gonna
all need a pen and a journal that is in the shower. I
I
know.
know. What am I
I
going to
agree.
do? Right. So it is that, so think about that when you're sleeping. It's so I think it's all available, and you're the only one, Monica, you're the only one um, who can really understand what this is for yourself. I would suggest, and this is just a suggestion, I don't know if you've ever sat and just in your waking moment, like put a timer on maybe for 10 minutes. I mean, this is what I would do if I was stuck and I didn't know what it meant or why this was happening, or is it a premonition? Is it me? Is it what's going on? For me, I would put a timer on for 10 or 15 minutes and I would sit quietly in my most comfortable chair and I would really dig in and I would, relax to the point where I could ask the universe and just say, what's going on? Or what do I need to know? Ask for that message and you might get it in your waking hours.
Mm. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. Highly would like to know if there's an audiobook or will there be an audiobook?
That's a great question. There is an ebook. I am hoping for an audiobook. She writes press. Audiobooks are expensive to do, and I would have to do it myself. And I'm waiting because she writes press picks. They say they work with an audio book, whatever, however that works, audiobook service. And they pick 5 or 7 books to do the audiobook for free.
Right?
But they always say it takes a while to make that decision. So I'm a month and a half in. So
Mhm.
if I don't get an audio book, if I'm not picked for an audio book toward the end of this year, because I'll know, then I will do one. I will come up, find the money, and I will do one. Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
would.
she's saying audiobooks help me tremendously with my ADHD. I would love this option.
Totally. Yes, I'm there with you. It needs to be there for a lot of people. I mean, I have friends that are visually impaired and blind, and I'm definitely going to do it, but it might not be out for another year.
Right. And I do know that it is an easy read, but it's impactful. That's what I really loved about it. It was very impactful.
And I did an audio, I will say this, I just forgot this because I'm having my website redone and I did an audio of the introduction.
Mhm.
So I'm going to be putting that probably on my website. So if that I did, yeah, the preface, I did read that. So that'll be up. You can keep checking my website for that. I'm hoping, gosh, it would be nice if by mid-April it was all done. So
So I
fingers.
have a question. What were the main hurdles you found with writing?
Yeah. Well, I think the main hurdle is always finding time. I think for any writer, especially when you have a lot of other things going on. But one thing I've learned, and all writers know, is that, you've got to put one word after another. So I really had to discipline myself to do it when I was working full time. I'd get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to write for an hour and a half. Uh, when I retired, I obviously had more time to do it. And that's when the book really took off because I could do it every day.
Right.
I think another challenge with writing is to find people who are also who you trust, who can be your beta readers.
Yes.
I once heard about somebody who felt so protective of their work that I was told by his daughter that he would never let anyone see it, but he wanted to be published. And she asked, and this is years ago, and she asked me for advice, and I said, well, I don't know how any writer cannot have people read their work because unlike music I did, or maybe even for a painter, someone who's doing art, when you all know probably yourself from writing whatever that we're in our heads so much. It's really what's obvious to me may not be obvious to anybody else.
Right.
There's so much I can be missing. So I think that's the third thing that is important to make sure you have. That's a challenging thing to find those people. It's taken me a long time, but I finally have people I trust who can give me feedback. Yeah, and I think when you're a writer, as a musician, when I performed, writing is so different. You asked about challenges. When I was a performer, um, I'm on stage, let's say, or I'm in a club or whatever, and I'm not, no if someone doesn't like my music, I'm not noticing. Like it wasn't my music anyway, it was in bands, but I mean, I'm not noticing, right? They walk out, I can be thinking, oh, they have to go to the bathroom, whatever. And maybe that's true, if you're paying, like I have friends who are artists, they're in galleries, whatever. It's like they don't even have to be there. If someone doesn't like their art, they don't have to hear about it. But writing is different, it's like it's just different. Like you have to show your work back to that. You have to show your work to somebody. And you have to have a thick skin. And that took me a long time to develop. The first critique that came back from one of these beta readers, my defense just went, what? It's just really hard. So as a writer, I had to develop I mean, I had been performing for years. I taught, I had a drum school. It doesn't matter. None of that training helped with writing. I was like, oh my gosh, you didn't like that sentence? You don't understand what I'm saying? I have to rewrite that paragraph? I'm like, because oh my gosh, I was, I mean, I had an editor, I was, you know, gosh, good thing she didn't mind my cursing at her. She was really patient with me, but it was hard. It was hard. And that was my years ago. Now I'm so much better. And I'm so grateful for the critique if it's even if it's negative. But that took years. I think that's the biggest hurdle. If you want to be an author, if you really want your work out there, you got to figure out how to find it, your thick skin. And that's hard.
Are there any other questions from anyone? Because we'll do some other readings and then we'll come back and ask some questions afterward. Charlie said, I wrote an article recently that someone critiqued heavily, so that was palpable. Yeah.
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 Oh,
Yeah.
I feel you. I really do. It's still not easy. I mean, I have somebody I share work with, and the first time now with her, it's great. But that's even true. Like she was a first time for me, and I had to still go through a little bit of that defensive, even though I had developed, I thought, what was this a thick skin? Now, it's easier with her. But yeah, good luck with that, Charlie. Good luck. But good for you for showing it. I don't know I don't know how you can be a writer or not. I mean, even Stephen, I was going to say Steven Spielberg, Stephen King. He's got
Mhm.
10 beta readers. This guy is, how prolific is this guy? But he doesn't yeah, he shows 10 people his work before he puts it out into the world.
I've done beta reading for quite a few people.
There you go. Oh,
Mhm.
that's lovely. That you're a good friend or a good editor. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have said that. I might be calling you.
Oh, please do. Please do. I did do the random number generator for your book.
Oh, yay.
Um, and so I would like to see if this person is available to have the book and if she's from the States, because the person has to be at this point in time. I wish it could be me and I wish it be, but I'm from Canada. But so Jenny, are you available to say that you would accept winning the book from Jill? Are you available?
I am. I have a copy already, but I would love
Oh,
one.
You would love one.
Gift, gift
Can
to
it
a
be a
friend.
signed copy? Or
yeah, of course. Of course.
and
I'll
then you
sign it
can,
for you.
yeah, then you can maybe pass yours on to someone else, perhaps, or whatever you choose.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Absolutely.
Jenny, I would love it if you pass the other one on to somebody else. More people is
I
better.
I have I I have someone in mind.
That's
Oh,
awesome. No, I'll
perfect.
send, that's great. That's
Now, is your email, I just wanted to make sure, jill@jillemysager.com.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
that I just put in chat. Jenny, if you could, to this ad, like to Jill, to the address I just put in the chat, if you could send your mailing address to Jill, then she will email it to you. No,
I
not email it. Sorry. She will mail it to you. It will be mailed. It's not going to be emailed. It's going to be mailed.
Okay, there's a chance that my friend who I planned on gifting this to we may be up in Eugene in the next couple of months.
Oh,
So
wow. Well,
Wow.
definitely, you've got my email. You can also, anybody can contact me through my website. I mean, I have a contact sheet there. So if you, but yeah, well, let me know. That'd be great. We could meet up for
yeah,
coffee or something.
yeah, maybe a few readings.
Oh,
Yeah,
to do readings, whatever. Sure. I'm
awesome.
around. It'd be great.
Sounds great. Thank you. I'm excited.
Yeah. Yeah. You're
Oh, you're
welcome.
welcome.
Yeah. Send me your last name and your address and I'll get this out to you.
Perfect. So if we can do a
And
few
thanks,
other
Jenny, for
readings.
having my book. I appreciate it. Thank you for having it already. That's
Ah,
great.
if we can do a few other readings, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah.
Kylie, you would be next if I will unmute you and Jill will then give you a reading.
Yay. Yeah, I would love a general reading. Thank you.
Yeah. Here you go, Kylie. My pleasure. All right. Okay. Well, you have, there are a few things going on. One is to, universe is saying, and I'm seeing it also in the cards, to be patient. Um, whatever's coming, it's going to come. But sometimes it takes a minute. It takes a moment. So they're just asking you to be patient, but be patient with that full-on awareness that that whatever it is abundant. It'll come, it'll be good, it'll be fine. Just, hang in there. And we have a feeling this, so I don't think we really needed to tell you to be patient, but it might take a little bit while longer, but it's okay. It's okay. It's going to work out. It's all good. The other thing going on for you is that there is something about I always have to find the right words, right? Something about your energy, who you are, that is really, do you work with kids? Are you around kids?
Oh, let me make sure that she can talk to you here. Unmute
Oh,
her.
Kylie.
Kylie,
Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
Sorry, I was talking while nobody was listening because I was muted. Um
Are you,
I don't currently work with kids, no.
there's something about that for you though. I don't know what it is. But it just feels like there's some identification there with you and children that is, I mean, I'm not going to be prophetic and say you're supposed to work with kids. I don't know, but there's something about that. Like I see you suddenly, it's like you're in a playground with other kids, and there's something about that, something that you give and something that you get from children.
That's
And
so funny that you bring up playground, Jill, because I'm like writing my notes about this sound bath that I had in January, or no, it was, gosh, it was like July 24th, and I was literally just typing about how I was on a playground. So I got like full chills when you said that.
Mm. Well, yeah, there you go. Maybe that's it. Yeah, there's something about that childlike quality there. Maybe it was from that
Mm,
experience. I don't know. But it seems like I think what I can say from what they're showing me and how major it feels in my body, take yourself back there, to what that felt like. It sounds like you already are. You're writing about it. But yeah, there's something about not losing sight of it or something, or keeping it close and fleshing it out and maybe even making it bigger, some of that energy, whatever you meant by playground. Yeah, something there to really hold on to and have. And the way I can say it, because they just said it, was somehow it's going to inform you even more than it did like in the past. It's good. It feels right.
mm.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And
Thanks, Jill.
thanks for telling me that. See, I'm like, wow. Thanks for sharing.
Mary, are you available for a reading? Would you like one? Oops, you were unmuted. Let's try again. There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm available. Yeah, any message I've got would be good.
Okay. All right. Well, it just seems right now that things have not, what do I say? They're not the easiest right now for you. Things have not been, I'm kind of picking up that things have not been that easy. But there is something about, how to say this. Sometimes I don't like being the messenger, but there is something about that old adage about, some things are meant to be. So for you right now, whatever's going on, it's meant to be, but that doesn't mean it's punishing, right? This is what I do love about the messages I get from the universe. Sometimes what's meant to be, even if it sucks, even if it's not great, offers opportunity. And that's what we're feeling, that there's opportunity here. So it's really about you remembering to put your perception on on what, like an expansive perception versus, and I don't know, maybe you're already doing this, a more expansive perception versus seeing how difficult things are. I mean, not to take any of that away from you, that it's hard, but sometimes when we think, and I know this has worked for me, when we think, oh, it's meant to be, then it kind of can lighten it up. Not because I feel like it's meant to be, like I'm supposed to be punished, but because something will show itself around all of what I'm going through. And this is what we're feeling for you. That will inform things in a way that I might not know, I might not expect right now. So don't see it as punishing, see it as opportunity.
Yeah.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, Lisa, are you available for a reading? Would you like one?
Yes, that would be great. Thank you, Jacqueline. It's wonderful. You two are really, I've been very dynamic, good energy. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Lisa. All right, well, this one's for you. Let me shuffle.
Great.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, I use that word opportunity, and it's come up for you too. There's opportunity for you. And I don't know if it's in, area of work, and it feels a little bit to us like whatever you're doing, it's been working, and I'm talking about what you do maybe for work or a career or a job or just, I don't know, whatever it is that you seem to be spending time at, right? When we spend the most time doing something, and it just feels like it might have taken its course. So you might be somebody right now who's looking at opportunity, who's looking at other opportunities, who is really in the flow of, the universe has more to offer, there's more abundance out there, there's more opportunity.
Yeah.
Sorry? Oh, it just feels like that's what's going on for you right now. So I hope, we're just validating for you that yeah, it's out there.
Wow, that's perfect, Jill. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you
Yes.
hear me?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Great. Because I've had a profession in the skincare. Yeah, I'm a healer type.
Mm.
And for 30 plus years, and for the last couple years, I've been working on an invention. I'm coming out with a new pet rock. So, and I've been working with stone and stuff. So I'm moving into new arenas, and I'm kind of sorrowful that I'm moving away from my skincare practice and my clients. It just
Well,
doesn't have.
yeah. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, well, they're saying that, but you've been there, done that, and it's okay, and I have
Yeah,
this experience too. Sometimes we can, grieve a loss doesn't mean that we should stay there, just because we're going to miss something, right? And that's what we feel about you too. It's a little bit like, but we also feel like your clients. There are a lot of clients who love you and want to be with you, whether it's skincare or not. So you might actually find that these people go with you, that they become your fans in
okay, great.
other arena.
Yeah,
Let them know what's going on when you're ready to do that, because we feel like, you said skincare, but some of this was about you and who you were as a person. And that's not
right,
something people want to let go of. And if you don't want to let
right.
them, you don't have to. You can bring them on board. So, yeah, that's what we got for you.
That's great. Thank you. But I have a good team, and I'll probably launch around September before the holidays.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, yeah,
Yeah. So
very cool.
thank, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're
You're
welcome.
awesome. Oh my gosh.
Buy my book.
Jenny, would you like a reading?
Oh, I just had to say it. Thank you, Lisa. I'm just kidding. Not.
Jenny, are you available to oh, would you like a reading, Jenny?
I would love a reading.
Okay.
Okay. Right, Jenny. Well, got another teacher in our midst. Like I said, it does, this with this group, that doesn't surprise me or something. It's kind of, that you have, you know, who you are, what you have to offer is so on the table. So like other people I've mentioned, it's the same energy. It just feels like, yes, like definitely open your mouth, like let people know what's going on. And, it kind of goes back to guidance is showing me this. It kind of goes back to what I said earlier after Jacqueline was asking me that question, like we're all healers. And right now, and I think some of us are getting this message with this teaching, and whether it's about something specific that you're doing, such as, reading tarot cards for somebody, guidance just said that is, that's all great. But it's even what's more important is just speaking our truth right now. They're really, and for some reason, Jenny, you've pulled this out of us, to say this as opposed to, that it's because they're telling this in a more general way, but specific to you, that it's so important that we draw a line in the sand and start telling people really where we're at. It kind of saying that they just said it reminds me a little bit. I once heard Maya Angelou say, and I always think about this, and they said, yeah, I should say it. Okay, I'll say it. She had a party at her house. I heard an interview she did, it might have been with Oprah many years ago. And she had a party at her house, and somebody said something racist. This was at her house. And she went up to them and she said, leave, goodbye. Right? A hostess doing that. That took a lot of chutzpah on her part. I so admired it. But she drew that line. That's what I'm talking about. She drew that line in the sand. It wasn't okay. And that was it. Done. She didn't apologize. She didn't have to rationalize it. She didn't have to tell them, goodbye, you're not welcome, right? And that's what I'm getting chills as I'm saying this to you. That's what they're talking about. We all need to heal. They're saying we all need to heal this planet. We all need to heal each other. We all need to heal ourselves. And it's important that when we see injustice, this is not coming from me. I never talk about politics, you guys. So Jenny, what did you do to me? This is like you brought this out somehow. But it's here for you. So here for you. It's really important that we not apologize for what we think or what we feel. But everybody here, they're saying understands, and maybe that's why it's coming through, understands injustice and understands what's right. So do what's right and let people know that healing has to happen. And it can happen here through love, compassion, kindness, understanding, and being true to what where our integrity is at.
Yeah.
Okay, wow. Okay. Jenny, there you go.
Monica, are you available for a reading?
Sure. Thank you.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, Monica. So we feel you as somebody who feels a lot, feel emotional, feels a lot. And something that might work for you at this time, again, free choice, free will. I'm not telling you what to do, but a suggestion, this is what they're offering. Look for more community. It feels like you need more community. People like you, people who understand you. I don't mean community, it has to be like a lot of people, but gather your tribe, like some friends. It feels like you need it. Like you need other people's joy. You need other people to reflect back on who you are and your light and how great you are. And we just feel like you're not getting enough of that. It'd be no different, they're saying, than if you weren't drinking enough water. They'd probably be telling you to drink more water. So we just feel for you like it's important that you, should you choose that, find more people who are like you to hang out with so that so that who you are is reflected. And that you can, really honor who you are in ways that, because it's reflected back and people know you and they love you and they support you. Just feels like you need that. You need more of that.
Do you see any like kind of job offers on the horizon? I'm right now on the job market, trying to kind of, I don't know, land one.
About a job, about landing a
Yeah,
job.
yeah.
Oh, well, you know what they said. That's really interesting. They said that picking a job does have to do with what we just said. Again, free choice, free will, but you might want to make sure that the next job you have, you like the people you're working with, that you get along with those people, which sometimes we don't know till we're in a job, right? But when you're in an interview, you can get a sense. They're saying you have intuition. You could get a sense of whether it be a place that would be a good place to work because of the people that are there. It feels like that's important. So, do what you want with that. I'm not going to tell you not to take a job because of that, but it might be something to think about.
But is there something on the horizon coming up anytime soon?
I don't see anything like that. I'm not looking for that for you. You'll know it when you see it. You'll know it when you see it.
May I have a reading, Jill?
Yeah, sure.
And then we have some questions. I
Okay.
have some questions. I don't know if other people do. I have a couple questions for you. If no one else does.
Okay. Okay. Oh, Jacqueline, you got the world card. I love that.
Yay.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And you got the High Priestess. World card, High Priestess, Ace of Pentacles. So I have to say that and I do know you and the work you're trying, air quotes, the work you're doing, not trying, you're doing. And it feels like this is your time. This is your time. And I don't know if you unconsciously was asking about, your work, your channeling work, your, readings, but this is your time. And that Ace of Pentacles sitting there, the energy, I mean, I'm looking at it and they're showing me the energy off of that is it's your time. And it's your time to see abundance with it. And we're talking about monetarily. Like it feels right. It feels like it's happening or air quotes should be happening.
Right. Okay, then I'm going for it.
Go
sure.
for it. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't dissuade you from going for it. You've
Okay.
also got the strength card. I mean, I'm looking at your cards and they're just like, yes, they don't even have to talk to me. They're just like, yes, yes, yes. The cards are just magnificent for you in terms of your work and what you're trying to do. So like, why would you not do it?
Yes, why wouldn't I do it? So
Go
yay, I'm so excited. Thank
Yeah,
you.
go forth.
Yeah. So any questions from the audience? You can put them in chat or you can just let us know and put up your hand, or I want to ask you, questions for Jill Amy. What is your favorite tarot deck from Valerie?
Valerie, you know what? My favorite tarot deck is still the Rider-Waite. But that's what I use. I use the Rider-Waite.
Oh, and
As a
she
matter
was
of fact,
just saying, what are you using tonight? But
yeah,
it's
the
good.
Rider-Waite. That was the first deck I learned on. And by the way, this is the very first deck I ever got. It's tiny. It's like a little travel deck. I still
I have a
use it.
large set of them. A
Yeah,
large.
I do too. I mean, I have like 4 or 5 different Rider-Waite decks. But I have to say I collect decks because of the artwork.
Right.
And I am somebody who has never really used other decks to read. And I know people that do, and I'm always very impressed by that.
Hmm.
I don't think I have the capacity. I don't think my mind works that way to switch from deck to deck. I've never tried it, and I don't think I could do it. But when I see other people doing it, I admire it a lot.
She says she has a travel deck too. She still doesn't have a full-size deck for
Oh,
Rider-Waite. But she has many decks.
yeah, me too. I love decks. I mean,
Yeah.
I love them. Yeah.
So what is your favorite thing about being a tarot reader and channeler?
Wow, I've never had that question asked. That's an interesting question. I think, well, I will start by saying it took me many, many, many years, the 70s, 80s, 90s, into the 2000s, here we are at 2025. So to really be able to come out really as a tarot reader and channeler.
Right.
And part of that was I was always conflicted about the responsibility. So that's a way of saying what was difficult, what's been difficult about it. And I still didn't realize, and then I will tell you what I love about it, but just to tell you, it took me a long time. I was reading for people, I was doing the work, but I was so filled with worry, I think, about the responsibility of the work that I I myself personally couldn't attach to the joy of it. Doesn't mean I wasn't helping people, because the people who came to me, they were very grateful or they felt better. So I knew the work was good. I knew the work was important, but I couldn't attach any joy to it because I was so concerned with the responsibility. And also, maybe because I grew up physically disabled, kind of afraid of the shame of it or people judging me. And I will say that I wrote this book, and 2 years ago, right? I knew it was going to be published because it takes that long with a publishing company. Like, it can take 2 years. And during these 2 years before the book came out, I realized, which I didn't know, that I still was freaked out that people were going to find out that I channeled information. Even though I do put it out there, right? I have a website and everything, but that's like behind a door. That's like behind a screen. Like, that felt kind of safe. Like, if I don't like an email, I can delete it or something. But with this, I have to like really be out. And so I won't go into it. It's a lot to go into, and I don't need to explain it. But trust me, the last 2 years have been back to, I had to really elevate my understanding of this whole thing in a different way. And
Sorry.
it's an interesting process. So now, with the book coming out, with the book out, and also with the work that I do with clients, um, and with support from the universe, and also with how things are changing in the world, I am finding the value that my work has value. I'm finally able to say that, and to know that is important. But it has taken me a long time, even though it probably always did have value. I didn't connect. I couldn't somehow fully take that in, like every cell, to know that.
Right.
And more, I'm seeing that. And I think what's helping, like Jacqueline, you saying that, you know, you read my book fast, and I think it's helping. I think that's helping. Um, you know, outside validation is not just about, you know, stroking someone's ego. It's about a reflection.
Yeah.
Sometimes we can't see things for ourselves. I had no idea my stories were going to affect anybody. They're my stories. So to hear that, oh no, they resonate or this or that, makes me, okay, well then it was worth writing, right? It's a validation.
Yeah.
And that also is helping me to feel less um, concerned about the fact that 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 I channeled information, you know, less concerned. Because ultimately it feels good to help people. We all know that.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, a friend calls me, Jill, I need something. I go over. It feels good, you know. And I had a friend that used to say, "Oh, it's all altruism." You know, it's everything we do is altruism. Maybe she was right. I don't know, but it does feel good to be there for other people. And if my book is in any small way contributing to that, then I should be able to take that in and just be grateful. So thanks for that question. I never actually had that question asked. So
Valerie has a question for you. Another one
Yes.
here.
Hi, Jill. First of all, thank you so much for this. That excerpt was amazing. Can't wait to get a copy.
thank you.
I do have a question for you, and I apologize if this was already asked earlier. I was driving for some of the session. But for those of us like myself who feel as if they have several books within them waiting to be written, and you mentioned that you wrote from a couple of different genres, totally unrelated. What would be the biggest piece of advice or the biggest thing that helped you decide which book to start with?
That's a good question. Well, there are a couple of ways that you can approach this, Valerie. You can approach it by a marketing point of view. Like what, you know, you can approach it by marketing point of view, and I can explain what that is. Or you can approach it by an intuitive point of view, or you can approach it by what's the most interesting thing to you as a writer, right? Like which one do you want to do? But from a marketing, if you think about it from a marketing perspective, it might be what's the one that you think will sell the most first? If you are, now, I don't know, maybe you're a well-known author. I don't know, Valerie, if you've written any, you know, if you have books out there, I've never checked. But for me as an unknown author, um, I do have some other books, and I feel like I'm doing them now. In this one, I wanted to get done first because I just felt like the timing would be good. But I am now looking at marketing in terms of the other books I write are, you know, I do have a plan. Like, oh, because I'm not known, but if they know me, then maybe later they would want to read a memoir about my dating life, you know, stuff like that, right? That's where I'm at. So I think for you, yeah, I think figure out what you think. And if you want to call me at any point and tell me some ideas, I'm happy to, you know, give you my 2 cents about
Mhm.
what I see in publishing right now or what I think would go if you want some, you know, some assistance with just some ideas. But yeah, think of it in terms of all those three aspects. What's the one that's calling to you the most? Is sometimes the most important for a newbie author because you know, writing is tough. I mean, it takes a while.
Mhm.
One draft, two drafts. So you have to want to be in it for, you know, you have to really want to love what you're doing. Enjoy the process. I mean, enjoy the book you're you're writing. Um, so it might be that for you. Which one is speaking to you first? Or yeah, and or it could be the marketing aspect. Which one do you think is going to hit the best right now?
Yeah,
Which one's the most needed, you know? Does that
I
make
love
sense?
that. That makes perfect sense. I love that. Thank you so much, Jill. And I just want to say I'm ready to read that dating memoir whenever you're ready to write it.
And I want to say to you, and I want to say to you, if you have books in you, then you better sit down and freaking write those books because you know that's because I want to read your book. Like, do it, make the time, make the time. That's true for all anybody here who's thinking about writing. Make the time, 15-minute increments, whatever. It doesn't matter. Just get it out, get that first draft out. You know, the hard work comes in the editing, right? That you have to
Mhm.
But yeah, do it, Val. Get it out there, Valerie, please. Yeah.
Wow. Hmm. I'm just trying to think what would my next and probably last question if no one else is giving one. Okay. Looking back, what is one thing you wish you would have known about your spiritual path?
Wow. I think I don't know really. That's a good question. I think that maybe maybe as a maybe it's that I see my life in stages. Maybe we all do, you know. The childhood was hard. I felt like unsupported. I didn't know who to turn to. I certainly didn't turn to the universe. I didn't even know that was an option. But I think as a young, and so then, yes, now I've turned to the universe. It's helped me. It's all been great, you know, in that way. It's almost like two completely different parts of my life, you know, almost like dark and light or something. It feels that different. But I think that children, I don't read for children. And I think even if I had had some connection as a child, and I did actually, but was scared of it. Yeah, I think I wouldn't have known what to do with it anyway. I think I am really, really um, curious and maybe a little jealous too when I hear about kids who are connected in ways, or parents tell me their kids are, and I'm like, wow, that is so cool that your kid's connected and that you're supporting that and that whole and they're not questioning and going, oh, you're like a crazy kid listening to voices, or I just think that is so cool. So I think I think I was born in a time different than it is today, and I have no regrets about that. But times have changed, and
Yeah.
we're living in a different time in terms of alternative spirituality. And I'm very grateful to still be here and to have the experience of seeing how broad it is, how more acceptable it is, to see, the New York Times or Wall Street Journal or NPR talking about tarot and things like that in a favorable way. It's quite something. So I feel like I've, at my age and there, with gray hair, I've seen such a change, such a radical change. So I'm just grateful I'm here now to have the experience and to be with people here at AZ who are also having the same experience. I mean, this is just shows how incredible, how much this is needed, how
Mhm.
much all of this is so important. So
And things happen in perfect timing.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, absolutely.
Well, thank you for sharing this book with us. And it is Guidance from the Universe, Hopeful Messages for Everyday Challenges. And it's by our own author, Jill Amy Sager. And we just want to thank you again for a wonderful evening. What a nice way to spend an evening, but with you and your book.
Well, thank you. Thanks again for indulging me and promoting the book. Thank you so much for that, and thanks for sharing your time with me and making yourselves vulnerable with readings. I never take that for granted. It takes a lot, I think, to get messages and all that. So thank you for giving me the time and for being here with everybody. Thanks
Yeah.
again.
And thank you everyone for sharing your evening with us. So
Yeah,
thank you. Thank you very much.
yeah.
And I will say good night from Awkwardly Zen and for Jill and me Sager. And we love you. And we just can hardly wait for your next book. So bring one on, Jill.
All right,
Whoever's
everybody.
writing, get writing, get writing.
Okay. Thanks again,
Thank you,
everybody.
everyone. Good
Thank
night for
you.
now.
Good night.